What's up, everybody? Wanted to make a video today, maybe share a little bit of the pain. They say misery loves company, so I hate to be negative, but it's hard not to get emotional about money. So if nothing else, maybe we can learn from this. Uh, Nearly all of my mentors have said they always learn from their losses a lot more than they learned from their winners. Okay, so I think there's some truth to that. Quite honestly, of course, now here again, I'm in a bad mood because I'm losing money. I worked all night last night, so I'm running on about 3 or 4 hours sleep. Most time, I tend to get a little more emotional about money. When I'm losing money, especially, on days and nights that I've had to work all night. So my judgment could be a little clouded today. So just know that going in. A lot of times, most time you could probably bet just the opposite way I bet on days where I'm tired, and you'll probably make money 99% of the time. But what I'm seeing now on Bitcoin, you pull it up, it's still in a bull flag, right? I mean, we pierced it right here with this candlestick. I've got the Fibonacci on it. We could come down to this 54,000 zone, something like that. I've got alerts here at 60K. We pierced it. We did not close below it though. So a lot of times, you get a lot of head fakes, you get a lot of whipsaws, and everybody's looking at this pin bar candle or doji candle, kangaroo tail candle, whatever you want to call it. It's got an extremely long tail on it, right? So even if you put it on regular candlesticks, you have this hammer. Well, I would call that a hammer candle, but so anyway, a kangaroo tail. It's got a long bottom tail on it. So you whip down, made a low, really extreme low of the week, but then you closed actually on an up candlestick. Now this week you're not confirming that was a bottom yet. Now it could turn around tomorrow, who knows, but we are in a new moon cycle, so things tend to be a little more bearish, for that 14-day period of the new moon, which started yesterday. So I keep an eye on that. You can't really trade off of it. It's not good enough to just trade off of that, 100%. But the bull market of 2021, you can almost set your watch to it. I don't know why, but it just seemed to follow it really, really well. But so, what I'm testing out here, and I haven't actually heard Tom DeMark or any of his mentors say this on his website on symbolic.com, is, run your trend line from your 1 bar to your 9, your trend line. And if you close below that on a weekly basis, whatever chart, whatever time frame you're on, that's a sell signal. Any way you want to stroke it, man. I mean, you could paint it 9 ways to Sunday, but you can put lipstick on a pig all day long. At the end of the day, it's still a pig, right? So, you can polish a turd all day long too. At the end of the day, it's still a turd. But so you got to be honest with yourself in the trading business. We don't have a boss. We don't have a manager or somebody to tell us, hey, you're wrong on this position, you're wrong on this trade, you need to cut it, right? So you got to be honest with yourself, and you got to have rules in place to protect your money. Because if you don't, nobody else is going to tell you, hey, buddy, you're slipping here, right? You're making excuses for your mistake that you made, and you're staying in a losing position longer than you need to, okay? you got to dance with the one that brung you, or at least the one that brought somebody else to the top. So I'm using my mentors, and it's Larry Williams. I'm not afraid to disclose that, but I've learned his strategy over the since October, mostly for commodities, but he literally says that managing your money is the most important aspect of your strategy that you can have. He said, if you don't have a money management system in place, you're not going to be in this game for very long. And I mean, the man's got 61 years experience trading, so I'm not going to bet against somebody like that. I mean, that's literally like betting against Warren Buffett. I've seen the man be right. Now, he's not right all the time, but I would say the majority of the time, he's pretty close. He's pretty close. He's the closest thing I've found to a crystal ball. So I highly recommend, if you want to learn from him, he may offer one more class, is what he's saying, after this one that I'm currently in. I think we're going to have one more webinar coming up in June, and then that's going to be the last one, I think. But I don't know exactly when it is. But anyway, so we just had a live webinar last Saturday, and I got to ask him a couple questions. I asked him what percentage would he say is his Williams cycle indicator accurate. I asked him 75%, 80%. He said it works better on intraday time frames. So probably like a 4-hour to a 1-hour chart, maybe a daily at the most. So even he's saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket betting on one indicator, saying, price is going to go down. I mean, and it is. It's saying it's going to go down. It's showing a top around May 8th on, this is Bitcoin futures. So it's showing May 8th at 5 o'clock. That's a top. Now, we've already topped right here, May 6th. That was the high. We're down since then. You can clearly see prices lower than it was here. Now you showed enough, I don't have for some reason my crosshair thing won't work. I messaged them, but they haven't fixed it yet. But anyway, I mean, you had a local bottom here. You got a slight rally off of that. It's showing a possible top sometime in the near future. That would be roughly around 5 o'clock. I think that's Central Time. And that's showing going down mostly. You might bottom out, looks like around May 17th. Possibly. That kind of looks like that's trending up. So that's May 17th at 5 o'clock. Okay, let's timestamp that. See if it works. I don't know. Maybe it will. We could even might draw it. See if I could do a vertical line on this. Where's the vertical? Horizontal. You don't have a vertical line, bro? Come on, bro. That's lamosity. Lamaruskis. Time, text, trend. Nah, they don't have it on there. What are you guys doing, bro? Anyway, okay, so your 4-hour, of course, now this is yesterday's probably price action. Yeah, that's May 7th. That's what I don't like about using futures. CBTC, USDT, let's pull Binance. And I don't, like I said, I haven't played with this enough to know. So your 4 hour is on a -8. Okay, so that, let me zoom in on that so you can see it. And we're also on a support zone here at 61,438 and 71 cents. So maybe down another 4 hours, and then I would anticipate a possible bounce time frame. But now the Williams cycle is saying at least tomorrow morning, May 9th at 7 a.m., possibly May 10th at 7 p.m. That could be somewhere, 3 or 4 hour period right here. Might be a close bottom, I mean, it's the closest thing I know of to a crystal ball. Okay. Now you got the money flow coming in on a 4 hour period. You're not oversold heavily yet. I like it down here like it was over here. Ideally, if you get a 9 count and you've got money flow in and you got oversold conditions, usually you're going to get a bounce. And most time you get it. But now we may, a little bit more selling, and we could definitely get down into this oversold. This is price. This is measured against gold on Larry's Williams value indicator is what he calls it, or WilVal, and his money flow. So I like to use both of those. So I'm thinking we could easily go down for a little longer. We may have to endure some more pain. I hope we don't have to endure till June 17th. is what this thing says. I really hope that's wrong, because that's going to be painful. If we have to endure that, that's going to be. We're probably going to test 50,000, 56,000 at least. Probably down here. That's 50,900. So say 51,000. But you are daily below the will stop. That's a sell signal. You never closed above it off of this rally. So I would call that a head fake. If you played basketball, that's a head fake. I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I got to be honest with myself. I screwed up. I fell into my emotions. The FOMO, fear of missing out, took over. It was a weekend pump, and I fell for it. I got to quit doing that, because I know if I follow my strategy, it works pretty good. But it's not perfect. There's no perfect system out there that I know of. This is about as good as it gets. Now, back here in November, you had a perfect opportunity. If you could have bought in this, yeah, man, you look like a genius. You had good money flow on a weekly basis. You were oversold on Williams WilVal. Your cycle was calling for a local bottom somewhere in here. It didn't time it exactly perfect, but this thing pushes your price action forward 66 candlesticks. So that would be 66 weeks that this thing is guesstimating your price movement. Now, it's not great on a weekly time frame. Even Larry admits that it's not perfect on a long-term time frame. He says ideally you might get away with using it on a daily basis, but he says really it works better on a 4 hour to a 1 hour chart. So let's test it out. That's the only way you can tell if an indicator is worth using or not. You just got to test it out, repeatedly, spend some time with it, and, see if it works. I mean, I love the TD sequential. I know TD sequential works a very high percentage of the time. So I'll put money behind this every time, especially if I see the Williams money flow and I see an oversold indication like you had right here. You had a perfect, bubble right here set up off of -9 right here. That's about as good as it gets on a 4-hour chart, and we got the rally. We got a little rally off of it. It worked, But if you look at Williams, he was still showing it going down and still going down. So right here, this thing didn't work, So maybe I just need to quit trying to play crystal ball. That's an expensive game. It's a really expensive game, trying to play crystal ball. I know that. I still want to try to do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just human nature to want to be able to predict the future. I mean, that's the whole reason we watch charts. That's the whole reason technical analysis was created or invented or whatever. It was to try to guesstimate where price action is going to bottom out and where it's going to top out. If you can guess that, you can make a lot of money in this industry. But I think ideally you need Bitcoin, or if you could get Ethereum also. If you can get both of them, and most time they're going to follow each other. Everything's pretty much on a -5 or a -6 week on a weekly basis. Throw your trend line up here, top to bottom. Until you break above that, I say you're in a downtrend. I mean, technically you've broken your trend line here to your 9. I put it on the 9. There again. Once you lost that, it's game over. You lost that April 1st, the week of April 1st. When that closed out on Sunday, now you retested the trend line perfect, actually. You might have actually went a little bit above it. Almost perfect, right on it. That confirms my theory. Starting on the 1, draw it to the 9. And once it breaks it, you need to start looking for short sell signals. And it would have worked perfect. I mean, you could have printed. Say you sold on a Sunday right there. That's the close. Right now, you'd be up 14% on just betting against Ethereum. Had you done this on some more high risk stuff, man, you could have printed money like WIF probably. What could you have made on WIF? No telling. Let's pull the 1 to the 9. I mean, your 9 is way down here, but actually it's holding. It's holding support. That's interesting. That's interesting. So I'm testing this theory out. That's all you can do. If you have a theory or a hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, it's science. You got to test it. But I've got a cut list that I went through all of my coins that I'm in today. These are all the ones that I'm going to cut. Move was also on here. I've already sold it because I just got tired of looking at it. To be honest with you, let me put it on here. I'll bring it up for you just to show you what I was looking at. But it's pretty much a turd. Rand was talking about it on Crypto Banner, and he was pumping it after they went to that, Dubai conference and got everybody all hyped up on it. I don't know what he learned or heard from the conference, but so far price action isn't delivering. And I could have waited for a stop out right here, but I think I put $2,000 in it, and I'm not willing to give up 42% of my money to wait and see if this thing is going to bounce. Okay, so that's my theory behind what I'm doing here is ideally on a daily basis, when you lose your stop loss area, and this is messy as it could be. I got in over here on the weekend, probably Saturday. Most likely I got in Saturday. Technically, you go back 3 days, right here's your stop loss. Right there. If I got in here, all right, so the next day, 1, 2, 3, that's your stop loss. Right? So I should have been out of this thing technically on Monday. Now here it is Wednesday, and I was still in this thing up until 30 minutes ago. It's below the 9. It closed above it for 1 day, actually 2 days above the 9 the simple movement average. I'll give it that. But it never actually broke above your long-term downtrend line, your trend line right here. It never got above that. And that's the only thing I don't like about Sheldon's little strategy he does. He likes to buy, when you start getting this 9 count, I'm sure he may be watching TD Sequential, or he likes to use stochastic RSI. When it gets below, down here in the single digits, most of the time you can start dipping a toe, and you can dollar cost average in, and you'll probably do fairly good. If you hold it long term, you'll probably do okay. But if this thing goes down till June 17th, it could be a bloodbath. You could literally, you could throw a Fibonacci on it. It only went up for 3 weeks, from March until April 1st. There's nothing saying you couldn't come down here, below a penny. Nah, it's not going to go negative, probably, hopefully, but so that's my method. That's what I was taught. Use a 3-day trailing stop loss, and for the most part, I should have been out probably Monday afternoon. I should have been selling. I can't remember what day I went to work. I think I went to work Monday afternoon. Yeah, so that's probably why I didn't sell it. I couldn't watch the close, but it whipped way down. It did close off the lows. It rallied, so you did have your kangaroo tail, but kind of looks like it's wanting to retest right now. So you go to your 4-hour and look at it. You're on a 5. You're kind of breaking support right here. That's not good. That's definitely a red flag when it starts breaking your major support zone right there. You put that on a 4-hour. Go to your bottom of your close candle. Your bottom of your body of your candle right there. That's just hollow candles is what I do with that. That way you can still see your trend lines and everything. But once you've lost this, it's probably going to retest it on the next 4 hours. But if you don't close back above this in the next 4 or 5 hours, about 6 hours, I guess, because you got 2 hours left of this candle. If you don't close back above this 03951, it's going lower. Probably may even come down to this 3. Could come down to this 236 zone. I don't know. I'm not willing to donate to speculate. Ironically, that rhymes, but so that's why I cut it. I'm out of it. I don't even think I'm going to ever buy this thing again. I took it off my watch list because I'm just tired of messing. That's twice now it's burned me, and I'm just tired of messing with it. So I'm going to take all my alerts off of this stupid thing. And who knows, it may be the best thing since sliced bread, but I think it's an NFT exchange, decentralized exchange is what it is. So I don't know. NFTs aren't really all that hot. Right now meme coins are where the money's at. So until NFTs start getting hot, maybe in the next bull cycle, maybe. You look at Foxy, same thing. I'm coming over here. I'm looking at my 3-day trailing stop. I'm below it today. It's well below. It's closing below the 9 simple moving average 2 days in a row. You're stopped out. Technically, I'm stopped out right now. I should have had a hard stop, set in, and that way that would protect me from even worse losses. I'm sitting on a 6.5% down day today. Could it bounce tomorrow? Maybe. Your Williams 4-day is in the basement over here, so technically that could bounce tomorrow. It could. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. You can't play this game on coulda, woulda, shoulda. It'll drive you literally insane if you try to look back on your mistakes and say, man, if I would have just done that, I'd have made $5,000. Well, most people, you can't do that. That's a luxury that you can't afford in this game. We've got to make the best decision we can with the information we have in front of us at the current time and with our set of rules. And if we don't go by that, if we break that, we're breaking a promise to ourselves. I've heard somebody say, I don't know, that if you break promises to yourself or to the universe or to God, it usually doesn't turn out very, very positive for your environment, at least for your money anyway. But so that's why I'm looking at cutting this. Now you look at it on a 4-hour, this thing is on a 13, a minus 13, 8. I can't chart it on Symbolic, I don't think, but that broker there has it. So that they play a lot of games. I know they play a lot of games. This could bounce in the next about 4 to 6 hours, maybe, theoretically. Yeah, you're looking at possibly 2 hours. It could come down here this 012 and then bounce, but I didn't put a lot of money in. I think I only put $500 in this one, but so it's not the end of the world. That thing goes to zero. It's not going to break me, but it's still, if you're going to manage your money, you got to manage it all the way, is my opinion. So here again, Heart, humans.ai. It looked great this weekend. Looked awesome this weekend. You were above the 9, but technically you lost that yesterday. This is the second day below it. I think you got to cut it. It's well below the 18, I'm sure. Nothing really. You closed above it one day. So technically you didn't get your 18 confirmed. You really need 2 days above it. Ideally, your 4, you lost your 4 on Monday. Your 4 simple moving average daily. Usually when you lose the 4, you're going to go into a negative count. Well, not usually, definitely. I think pretty much 100% of the time you're going to get a negative count. But, right here you got it. You come over here. If you're a short-term trader, your 4, it's going to whipsaw you. You're going to get head fakes, but it'll keep you out of trouble. It will shorten up your losses, but it's going to shake you out of more trades if you're doing short-term trades like that. That's why I think the 9-day simple moving average is a good middle of the road moving average to go by for what I'm trying to do as a swing trader. I'm trying to time the tops and bottoms as best as I can, and like there was one or two of them that I got in that never closed above the 9-day. I forget which one it was. Was it Pyre? Which one was it? No, it got above it on Friday. Was it Orca? Orca. Orca never got above it except over here. Which I don't think I was buying it over here. I was buying it here on Saturday, the 4th, mostly. Everything was roses and sunshine on Saturday. It's mostly Sunday, or Saturday anyway. But Sunday, Sunday, Monday, everything kind of turned for the worse. Never should have, especially if you don't close above your 9 on a daily basis. What are you doing? What am I doing? I'm preaching to myself here. What was I thinking? Don't do that. That's not smart. I was thinking I was a genius. I was getting in, on an 8-9 count, and it was going to blow out. We didn't get it. It didn't work. My theory was we might get 4 weeks of pullback on Bitcoin, and then rally and then continue, to the upside. And we still could. It may be a rough 6 or 7 days in the future until 14th, 15th of May. And then I think we could turn around somewhere in that time frame. But there again, what was that cycle showing? There I am, back to the crystal ball again. I never learn. You never learn from your mistakes, I guess. I don't know. Go to the 4-hour. Yeah, it's saying May 10th at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe, is what I got this set on my settings. But we'll see. It's on a -8 already. So you've got support at right around 59,000. At least it should bounce, and hopefully it should bounce in that zone. If it does whip, you might get a shakeout candle, right in here somewhere. But hopefully not. And that looks mostly up until May 16th, and then kind of sideways. But well, like I say, this did not work right here. During this up move right here, this was saying you're going down. So there again, I can't put a lot of money behind that indicator, at least with crypto. Now, it may work great with stocks or commodities or whatever, but you can go to Bitcoin futures, and half the time it's the exact opposite on Bitcoin futures. I don't know why. Now see, that's calling that. It seems to work a little better on futures. It called for a bottom right here. It missed it by a little bit. Actually, over here was your bottom on May 1st on Bitcoin futures. Could have timed that pretty good with TD sequential. That would have been a pretty nice trade. I don't know what percentage you got off of that, but let me see price range on this. Let me see. What he got the bottom, but say you bought the 4-hour, and you could have made at least 7 or 8%. If you timed it close to perfect, could have made 13% on that move right there. That's a pretty good move. That's not bad. May have to start trading some Bitcoin futures, because that's now one indicator I will put a lot of confidence in is this COT report, Williams COT commercial. on Bitcoin futures, weekly basis. For now, we're not seeing the big money in the buy zone. You need that above this blue line here, cyan blue line, the 74. Ideally, you need it like it was over here back in October of 23. That you had accumulation starting right here, pretty strong accumulation. Bottomed out September 10th, and then pretty strong accumulation. That was a confirmation for me that we were going to see a pretty good rally, and sure enough, we did. Like over here, it didn't work that great. You had some accumulation. You got in the buy zone. Didn't work that good. Maybe that's when the stock market and everything bottomed too. Right around that time frame. You pull the SPY. You can't pull futures on it, but let's pull the Dow Jones futures. That's what I've learned to use for. They started accumulating pretty much in August, mid-August. They were accumulating. They were pretty much go time right here when you got above 74. That was September 24th. You bottomed out pretty much October 22nd, the week of that. Nice little rally on the Dow Jones. You could have even waited for the wheel stop, looks like, on a weekly basis. I asked Larry point blank on a webinar if you could use this wheel stop for a long-term, stop loss or entry point even, trigger buy signal on a weekly chart. And he said yes. Now he said your stop loss is going to be pretty significant. If you use a 3-week trailing stop, it's going to hurt a little bit if you use that. But he likes to use a daily. You come back, over here to September, October. You had your 9 again. Once you got you closed above 34,719. The wheel stop was 34,225. That's your buy day right there, November 2nd. That's about as good. You could wait for 2 days if you wanted to. November 2nd, November 3rd. Could have rode this all the way up. Once you close above it 2 days, or below this 2 days, technically you're supposed to take profit. So you would have been stopped out right here December 21st. But your money didn't make much during that time frame anyway. Just pretty much went sideways. And you were pretty much at a top. Once you made this 13 count, you see what happened. I mean, you didn't make another, 2 or 3% maybe. From this point anyway, probably. But, and then we had a setup here, but we got a little bounce off of it, and we still might. We're still above on a daily basis, 3 days above the wheel stop. Closed above it, 3 days. That's not measuring today, but I'm pretty sure it was an update today, wasn't it? Let's look at the futures. Let's see. Everything was kind of flat to slightly down today on the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ. I mean, just a flat day. It wasn't really huge or nothing, but like you put it on the SPY. It was pretty much flat from where it closed, looks like. Your after hours action is gapping down a little, I think, looks like. Is it gapping down? Let's see, closed at 3. That's not showing. Let's see, where's my 3 o'clock candle? 3 o'clock, right there. Yeah, you're pretty much flat. Sideways, for now. That's a bull flag. That's a bull flag on a 1 hour. The 4 hour looks pretty decent too. You got a W pattern here. Usually when you break above your middle of your W, that's when you get your rally. That's kind of confirmation that you've got some strength on this rally. I mean, once you broke this, had you been watching that, you closed above it right here on this 8 bar at 11 o'clock on Friday. Your 9 bar retested, did not close below it. Boom, off to the races. I mean, started another, only went to a 6 count, or really a 5. Then you made a higher high on your 6 and then sold off. But if you're trading short term on the S&P, right now you're above your 9, so that's fairly decent. It's not great, but I'd probably go off a 4 hour if I was doing short term, and it's above it too for now. Theoretically, we'll see what it does, but so daily on the S&P, you broke your downtrend line. That's good. 1, 2, 3. I'd use this as a trailing stop. And if you lose that, or if you lose your 9 or your 4, I'd probably get out. We overcomplicate trading systems. We really don't have to. I mean, that's a higher high point right there. My favorite way to buy is wait for it to make a higher high. When it breaks this high right here, your previous high, when it breaks above that, closes above that, next day it's probably going to retest it. You throw in a bid right here at this exact price. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. You might round it up, a few points. I might round that up to 0.65, a good round number. I like 5s, for the most part, but so that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm cutting my losers. If they're below my stop loss, my 3-day trailing stop, I got to cut it. I'm wrong. I got to admit when I'm wrong. That's the hardest part about swing trading or short-term trading, day trading, is being honest with yourself and say, hey, I screwed up. I fell for the bait. I took it. I let FOMO get the best of me. I gotta protect my money. If you don't protect your money, if you don't watch your money, somebody else is going to watch it for you. And it's probably going to be in their bank account. It's going to be in the market maker's bank account or your broker's or whoever's short selling betting against you if you're on the long side. But, daily, I should have been out of this on Monday on Citus too. I'm stopped out. At this point, I mean, you're just donating money every hour that you're in this. It could bounce in the next 8 hours, 8, 9, 10 hours, but I wouldn't bank on it. I didn't put a lot of money in this one either. I might have put 1,000 in it. That's significant. That's a significant amount of money. I mean, Solana, I know everybody loves it. I have no doubt in November it's going to be higher than where it is right now. Barring if we go into a recession or whatever, but most likely we're not going to have a recession on an election year, on a re-election year, where your incumbent president is part of the Democratic Party. I don't think they're going to allow the stock market to crash during a re-election year. So that's my theory, but whatever. Here again, Solana, you count back 3 days, I'm stopped out. If this closes below the 9, especially today, I got to cut it. Your volatility is not there. You are on a 4-day on the Williams percent R. And ideally, I like it, down here closer to the minus 100. But, you have better odds of a bounce the next day if you get below minus 95 right here. But yeah, even Solana head faked us. You know, I mean, you hit the 9, went up 5 days, and then I had a theory, and it's based on this weekly setup, that if you don't have a perfect weekly setup, a lot of times your daily, your next shorter time frame is not going to work. Your setups on a daily is not going to work if you don't have a setup on a weekly basis. Same thing with like a day trade. I start on a 4 hour. If I don't have a minus 9, most of the time your 1 hour's signals isn't going to work. Ideally, you really need all these time frames to be pointing whichever direction you want to bet. So that's when you have the best odds of success for day trades, for swing trades, for pretty much any trade, whatever you're trading. It all works the same on the chart system. But here again, SUI, it's on the chopping block. I need to cut it. Like I say, I've lost the 3-day trailing stop, well below the 9-day, closed below the 9. Never actually got above the 9 on it either. I never should have bought in this until it closed above the 9-day. What was I thinking? That's just a rookie mistake right there. That's an amateur mistake. You know, like I say, I fell into my emotions. I fell for the hype. You know, you get to watching Crypto Banner, you get to watching whoever your favorite YouTube guru is, and you know, they try to spin it either bullish or bearish, probably which way they're betting. Maybe trying to pump their own bags, maybe not. I mean, I think they genuinely care about their followers, but you know, you got to watch them, you know, because everybody, it's human emotion. It's just it's human nature to get greedy. For some reason, it's human nature. We tend to overreach. We tend to stay a little too long at the fair or the party and or the nightclub or whatever. You know, and we don't know when to quit, when to take profit, or when to wait for a confirmation signal is what you need to do on trading. Is what I'm trying to get at. So my theory is, if you don't close above this simple moving average on a 9, simple moving average, daily basis, right here, don't take the trade. Don't buy in. That I never got the true buy signal. That is my true, what I call the trigger buy signal. Go time. It's time to put the order in, submit, try to catch it on a 4-hour bounce. It's about as good as you can do. I think, you know, I mean, if you can, especially you got a weekly setup and you get the daily and everything's set perfect. You get a 9-day, you get a 9 SMA, close above it 1 or 2 days. You know, pull back on the 4-hour. That's about as good as you can do. Now, CAS worked perfect. I mean, you know, I screwed a lot of things up. I got CAS right. For now, I look like a genius. Let's pull back on this. Let's see. Try to learn from your wins too. You know, that's, you know, ideally, I probably ought to be keeping a journal again, because I you know, I fell back into my old routine of buying up days, you know, selling the red, buying the green. A lot of times that doesn't work, you know. Trend is your friend until it's not. Trend is your friend until the end. That's what I've heard some people say. But CAS seemed to work pretty good. I can't chart it on symbolic. So, you know, I'll put a Heikin-Ashi on it. Looked like it got pretty close to a 9. At least was on an 8. on Friday. The 9, you definitely closed. Even a Heikin-Ashi closed above it. Now, I was betting, I was gambling a little bit because theoretically Saturday you close below the 9 simple moving average. Take that 4 off so you don't get confused. That's my green line. I made it green because that's green means go. So, I try to simplify even my own strategy where it makes sense in my brain, even subconsciously, somehow. And you got to get your own system, but you don't have to do exactly what I do. But if you have a better strategy, let me know. Comment in the comments and let me know, because this is the best I've found so far. Now weekly, it's on a 9, -9 this week. So here again, you go from your top to your bottom. That looks like a pretty solid trend line. You haven't actually got above that yet. Ideally, I want to see that sometime this week or next week. Now, we got a pretty good up week this week. We're up 10% this week, so it may get a retrace 10 bar next week. May give up a little profit, who knows, but I hope not, but you could. Your stochastic was set up pretty good daily. Everything decent daily setup. Weekly, you're definitely in the basement. You had the crossover right here. Crossing over. You're in the basement. Your Williams looks good on a 4-week moving average, moving up. Your histograms, everything looks good. I should have waited for confirmation. I should have waited till Tuesday to buy in. I was gambling a little bit. I was willing to take the gamble on this one because, it was a hot mover. Back in the bull zone, it was the last bull cycle. It was really good. It moved. Well, let's measure it. Let's see what it did. From the bottom, holy cow, this thing just printed money from, let's see, the bottom was June of 23. This one actually started ahead. It got a head start on most of them. Most of them didn't start going until September, October. Right in here, September 11th was when I got in, I think. But, for the whole move, from the bottom to the top, 1,500% on CAS. This thing. Now, you had a little pullback right here. But, wow, man, that thing was a beast. I remember there was time, like every day that thing was just going up, up, up. It just would not sell off sometime. If you're trying to get in during this on a pullback, you can't get it sometimes. Sometimes you just got to close your eyes and dive in. My theory is like a bar fight. Like you're at a bar and there's a fight breaks out and there's like 30 people and everybody's just throwing hooks, and punching each other. Sometimes you just got to close your eyes and dive in and start hitting somebody, and just, see what happens. That's it's a dangerous strategy, but when things are booming, sometimes you can't get a 4-hour pullback. There's times you think, man, this thing is never going to pull back, and most time right after you buy in, that's when it's going to sell off. That's when it's going to pull back. Almost 100% of the time. It's like Murphy's Law or something, but it's not just me. It happens with nearly everybody, and I'm sure it's based on your, human psychology somehow, some way. And the market makers know that. They play on our emotions, to the T. They work us like, no other. But anyway, getting a little long on this video, but CAS worked out good so far. I'm in the money on CAS at least. I should have put more money in it probably, but I got a 3-day stop on it. It's below my entry still, but hopefully another 2 or 3 days up. I can move my stop loss up almost to entry in 2 days. So the worst case scenario, I stop out where I paid for it. if this thing reverses next week, not the end of the world, So that's my theory. We'll test it out, see how it works. Ton's working. Ton's up today. That's good. At least I got a couple of them up, mostly red, but for the most part, I got not even close to half and half. I mean, for this YAI, I only got 1,000 in this one, but Crown, Roost, I put like 500 in it. That's been a dud. I need to cut it probably. Sidus is probably going to get cut today. My Gummy, it's down. I'll probably hold it long term. But Brett, that one's close to the chopping list. Foxy's definitely not working. Just a little early, But being early is the same thing as being wrong a lot of times. And so as a swing trader, you've got to be honest with yourself. If it's not working, you got to cut it. You can always rebuy it. Most of the time you're going to buy it at a cheaper price. And it's just whatever you're comfortable with, as far as the risk. How far do you want to let something run? How far do you want to let it drop? Most time for me, if it drops 5-10%, I want to cut it. I got to get out. That protects your money. I'm not going all in on one coin. I'm putting, maybe 3 to 5% in each one. I'm in way too many, but and my theory is, if I manage my money right, and I stop myself out at a 10% stop loss, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And so far, I still got money. I'm still in the game, So I got to give Larry credit on that. It's at least keeping me in the game. I'm not blowing up my whole account on, one trade, So if nothing else, it protects you from yourself from making bad decisions. And it tells you, hey, I'm wrong. I got to cut it. So that's what I got. You can take my advice or not. Test it out. Hopefully you don't lose all your money if you're not following it. But I'm just trying to navigate this little sell-off period best I can. If you're a long-term investor, you got $100 in Bitcoin or whatever, something safe, dollar cost average once a week, and hold that thing for at least till November, December, and you're probably going to look like a genius. You're going to outperform somebody like me probably most of the time, 90% of the time. But when you're betting big money, if you got, for me, a sizable amount of money is, $1,000 to $100,000. Why donate that money and sit on a loser in a bad time of the year where historically Bitcoin stocks, most things are sell in May and go away? That's the Wall Street saying. So May could be a little choppy, could be a little dicey. I'd rather wait for confirmation, and so that's part of my theory, part of my strategy. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking. That's all I got. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you like this content. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Tell me to, find another hobby, whatever. I can take criticism as much as anybody. I don't take it very well, but we'll catch y'all on the next one. Laters.